everyone, welcome back to my channel. I've got another review for you today. This time we're going to be talking about Bunnies and Flowers. This is a new fragrance from Kringle Candle this year, part of their Easter lineup, and that whole collection will be launching very soon on Thursday, March 20th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And for those who don't know, I am a Kringle Candle ambassador. I was kindly sent all the new Easter fragrances this year as a gift from Kringle to burn and review for you guys ahead of this launch. So thank you once again to Kringle for sending these over. And, regardless of if they send me a fragrance or it's something I purchase on my own, my goal here is just to give you my own honest experience, my honest opinions of the fragrance, and try to help you guys decide whether or not it's something you want to spend your money on. So, I hope you guys are learning to trust that I will always give you what my own honest opinion is, and whether or not that matches up with what your experience is, I can't make any guarantees. I can only promise you my honesty. So thank you guys for giving me that opportunity. I did a preview video looking at all of the fragrances in this collection, just in an overview, and now I've been kind of reviewing them one by one. There will be 3 of these, sort of 3 wicks like you see here. They are 100% soy wax and 14 ounces. The design you see on the jar there wraps all the way around and is printed on the jar. It's not a peel-off label. It's kind of a nice sort of painted on design. Illuminates very nicely, as you can see. And this is Bunnies and Flowers. I also reviewed Berry Citrus Bloom in the 3 wick. And still to come is Sweet as Can Be, which is actually sort of a duplication of Lemon Sugar Marshmallow, which we are going to be seeing in the other format again this year. We had it last year, but Kringle's general kind of tall 2-wick jar, their standard 2-wick jar, but those will be painted and with a speckled sort of pattern on them. So those will have 6 fragrances in that format as well. So getting on to our review today, we're going to be looking at Bunnies and Flowers. In my first impressions video, I talked about this being sort of reminiscent to me of like a high-end bar of soap, something sort of clean and fresh. And I had also mentioned that based on the notes, it is not something that I would have paid much mind to. This is not really in my wheelhouse. It's not anything I probably ever would have ordered on my own. Looking at the notes here, as Kringle lists them, we have top notes of green and foliage, mid notes of vetiver and floral, and base notes of moss and wood. All right, so if you are looking for a candle that sort of captures that early spring, after the rain sort of feeling, we're talking your early April or late March, sort of this transition period where, winter's pretty much done with, things are warming up, we're into that sort of rainy spring season, and things are just sort of coming back to life outside, becoming a little bit more green. That's really the sort of time that this candle brings to mind. So I've been really enjoying this right now. I feel like I've been reaching for this one really easily, because that is like exactly the time frame we're in here in sort of like mid to late March. So if you think about like April showers brings May flowers, this being your sort of April showers kind of candle. And then and in contrast, the last review I did for Easter petals really had a little bit more of that May flowers kind of feel. So that was more of your sort of picturesque spring day, your sort of flowers are in full bloom, it's warm and sunshiny, really more of that sort of type of spring day, versus this being a little bit more of the early spring sort of end of the spectrum. So depending what you're looking for, I feel like you have a little bit of the best of both worlds in this collection here. Personally, I find that I'm enjoying this one a little bit more. So scent-wise here, we've got a sort of mixture of different greens and foliage here. So all different elements. I should say one doesn't really outweigh the other. It's just sort of balanced in here. But some of the things that come to mind are things like clovers, things like ferns, the sort of thick leafy stems and leaves on the bulb flowers as they emerge, like your daffodils or your tulips. Those have like those really sort of thick leaves to them, that sort of greenness that you smell from those leaves. That comes to mind. Maybe a little bit of an aloe here as well. You could also say sort of that blending of the new grass starting to kind of overtake the older grass. So after the winter, when things are kind of brown, as that new grass starts to emerge, that smell that, just becomes a little bit fresher in the air. Not your fresh cut summer grass. We're not going quite that green, but sort of that in between here as your green lawn starts to fill back in after the winter. So those are sort of the green and foliage sort of elements that I'm personally picking up. Then we get to the middle of this fragrance where I feel like there's a little bit of a push and pull here that kind of balances out very nicely. What I mean by that is I feel like the vetiver has a little bit of a slightly masculine clean sort of lean to it. Not talking cologne here, not heavy like a cologne, but maybe more in line with sort of a men's body soap, like our bar of soap, or a hint of a shaving cream, but something in that sort of slightly masculine, clean, fresh sort of lean. What I'm finding is as I light this candle, before it's really had a chance to pool out, before it's really generated a whole ton of heat, I get a little bit more of that vetiver piece. But what I'm seeing happen is as that pool gets a little bit more deeper and fully involved there, you've got a lot of heat going with this 3-wick candle. More of this floral component starts to come to the surface, come to life. And that has a little bit more of a delicate, soft, slightly sweet floral quality to it, which has that hint of a feminine lean. So with the two of those there, I feel like they almost kind of pull each other sort of back to neutral once this fragrance really starts to get going and finds its groove. As for the specific floral elements here, I'm really not the best one to try to put names to that, but some of the things that have come to my mind, if you think of a slightly muted Lilies of the Valley sort of fragrance, with Lilies of the Valley being a pretty potent flower, a little bit sweet and a little bit delicate, but if you were to put some raindrops on there and kind of mute it out a little bit, I get a little bit of that in there. You can also say maybe daffodils or daisies or some of those flowers that just aren't quite as heady, aren't quite as heady as, say, a lilac or a lily, those being a little bit more pungent, or a rose. This is a little bit more mellowed out, more delicate, and a little bit more balanced. So it complements those green notes a little bit better without overpowering or overshadowing. Because honestly, guys, I feel like all the different elements here are very well balanced and they play really nicely together. At the base of this fragrance, we've got our moss and wood. I don't get a whole lot of wood here, but I do get some moss, and I feel like that's what's lending that sort of dewy quality that I get, that sort of that after the rain, so to speak, feeling, with that little bit of a dampness to it. Sometimes I do experience that with mossy notes. It's not a dirty mossy note. This really isn't a hugely earthy candle, although you can argue just a slight earthy undertone here. But really, I feel like it's very light and fresh, very airy, just very pretty sort of fresh spring, early spring fragrance. So for me, I've been really enjoying this. The burn has been flawless, no issues there whatsoever. The only caveat here is that it is a slightly lighter sort of fragrance, at least in my experience. If you are looking for something that's more of a punch you in the face, house filling sort of, candle, this might be a little disappointing for you. Personally, I would say I would probably put this in sort of the 4 to 5 range for those who like numbers. I've been burning it in my open concept space, which, I am smelling it. I am picking it up. It does have the ability to carry a little bit because it is sort of an airy fragrance. It does catch the air, but it's more of a background scent. It's not really one of those scents that's in your face demanding your attention. This is something you can use. It's pretty guest friendly. You can have it going in the background, and I don't think it would really offend too many people. You could also kind of use this if you're into scent layering. This would kind of play very nicely with some other spring fragrances, I feel. But if you're looking for something to really carry an open concept space, this might not do it for you. So, keep that in mind depending what you're looking for. I feel like it would probably be a really good bathroom scent as well. I don't burn in my bathrooms really generally, but I feel like, if I were to isolate this, I would probably smell a lot stronger in a smaller space. So, yeah, I can only report my experience. I don't know what others have reported. I don't go and watch anybody else's reviews on these fragrances until I post my own, because I don't like to be, influenced in any way. I like to make sure what I'm telling you is my own thoughts, is my own experience, and then, not too much outside noise there. And after I post this review, I'll probably go back and see what others have said, if it's, performing similarly for them, or if, they're having a different experience. So, yeah, that's about all I can say in terms of this specific candle. If you would like some comparisons here, the real main comparison that comes to my mind, and really it kind of came to mind immediately, was this reminds me a lot of Yankee Candle's Meadow Showers, which is actually one of my favorites from Yankee in the spring, for the same reasons that I'm appreciating this one, for that sort of after the rain sort of feeling. If you like Meadow Showers from Yankee, you will probably also enjoy this scent here. I don't know of too many others. For my wax melters, there's a oil called Green Clover and Aloe. If you like those sort of green clovery scents, you probably would enjoy this one as well. But yeah, as far as mainstream, I would say, Meadow Showers is definitely the first thing that came to mind. So overall, I really like it. I'm considering purchasing this again. For me, the strength is not a deal breaker, because I usually have a couple different things going on in my open concept space when I'm not burning for review. When I burn for review, I really only keep it to that one single candle, trying to make sure that that's all that I'm smelling. That's all that, I'm pulling these notes from. But yeah, for my own purposes, like general burning, I feel like this would just do okay for me. And I have no problem with the strength. And like I say, I am noticing it. It's not like non-existent or anything like that, but it is just tending to be on the lighter side. So I hope that helps some of you decide if you want to pick this one up or not. If you liked this review, please leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you have heard anything from anybody else in terms of strength. Or if you pick it up and you come back and watch this later, let me know how it's going for you. If you want to be alerted for my upcoming reviews, Carrot Cake will be next. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. That really helps me get established here on YouTube as well. And if you're going to be shopping this collection when the launch happens on the 20th, you can use my code SimplyScented to get 15% off. Just be aware that this is a commissioned code, so I do get a small percentage of those sales. And I always thank you guys if you've ever used it or plan to in the future. I really appreciate that, and it helps keep content like this going. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and have a great start to your week, or whatever time it is you're watching this. And I will be back very soon, within a day or two, with my next review. Take care, you guys.